Welcome back, everybody. This is Fighting Back Together, a current event-based show for the vacation rental industry where we break down what's new and what's happening in the vacation rental industry here at CiiRUS. My name's Josh Parry, the Chief Marketing Officer at CiiRUS, and today I am absolutely thrilled to welcome, I think, one of our most exciting panels that we've had. We have our friends from Vrbo joining us on the platform to talk about what's new on their end as markets around the world sort of start to pick back up and get a little bit more back to normal. We get some new stories every day from customers around the country and around the world on our property management platform who are starting to see things change. So, we keep looking for lights at the end of the tunnel, and things change very quickly. So we couldn't think of a better guest to have on the program today than Vrbo themselves. We're about 5 years deep into a close partnership with the Vrbo team. We built our direct connection with them, I believe, in 2015, and since then, 3 years in a row, pretty sure we were preferred partners with you guys. And this year, we were humbled and honored to receive the elite partnership with Vrbo, which really puts CiiRUS customers at in an elite class of software use. It means that the software you use has been stamped and approved by Vrbo as an elite partner, which gives you guys a great sense of security in using our platform, knowing that it has that stamp of approval. So we're grateful to Vrbo for the partnership and anticipating some really cool insights today on changes in traveler mindset and how management companies are updating their listings and making adjustments to ensure success in the post-pandemic era that we're about to come upon. So without too much further ado, I want to throw to my co-host, Brian Hamawi, VP of Product here at CiiRUS. As always, Brian, tell us how you're doing, and let's throw it to our panelists.
I'm excited for today's conversation. I think it's going to be an awesome one for our property managers and for the industry to watch. I think these guys have a lot to tell us, really interesting information coming out of COVID. So I'm very excited about this opportunity to talk to both Stacy and John today. With that, I'd love to introduce John Suzuki. He is, renowned in the industry. I don't think he needs much introduction. He is a global evangelist for Vrbo, and Stacy Shomon, and she is the market development manager for Vrbo. Both very well known in the industry. A lot of information is going to come out of these guys. So let's get to it. John, tell us a little bit about what you've been up to, and give us a little intro here, what we're going to be seeing.
Cool. Well, first of all, I want to thank you guys for inviting us to participate in this webinar. You guys are great. We love CiiRUS. We love your customers, and also to your point, Josh, about becoming an elite partner. Congratulations. Just to give everybody a perspective on that, we have about 75 different partners out there, and only 6 of them are elite partners. So you guys are in the top 10%. And that comes with a lot of benefits from Vrbo. And so we really like to reward our best partners that work very closely with us. I'm in my home. We're all in our new places of work. So if you hear kids, my door's closed, but if you hear kids screaming in the background, it's my grandkids. And we just go with it. All right. So let me take you through a little bit of a level set in terms of some of the things. I just want to take you through a couple of slides, maybe 5 or 6 slides, just to give you a level set on what's going on out there from the standpoint of traveler insights. So we're dealing with a new world, right? The good news is that with Vrbo, we have been focusing on families for a long time. Back in the fourth quarter last year, 88% of Vrbo travelers plan to travel with their families. Now, the fact of the matter is, the need and desire to travel with families and travel with people that are very close to the travelers and people they trust, obviously, and they know are healthy, has become very acute. And so people more and more are looking at things from the standpoint of their tier 1, if you will, or their closest relationships. And travelers are starting to begin to plan. They're getting really stir crazy with working from home, and they want to get out and they want to spend real time and have real fun with their families. And so 72% of folks out there are already starting to at least dream and think and plan about their vacations, and their vacations are away from people, right? They want to take vacations that are not in crowds, obviously for social distancing purposes, and so vacation rentals are just absolutely perfect for that. So then let's talk just a little bit about fairness and flexibility, and we're going to go into more detail, and I think in the conversations, but 78% of all travelers out there consider flexible cancellation policies to be either important or really important, right? Travelers are starting to filter on cancellation policies, and we're starting to see that properties that have more flexible cancellation policies are seeing more bookings. So that's probably the biggest change that's happened with regards to the need for adjusting to the new reality that we're having to deal with. And the last thing I'm just going to level set is that cleanliness matters. Okay, obviously before, cleanliness was really, really important, right? The very first impression people got when they walked into your home was, whoa, this is clean, or oh my gosh, what's up with this, right? It was the #1 driver of negative reviews, right, was cleanliness. And so now, however, 82% of travelers say that they're looking for information on the cleanliness and what you guys are doing with regards to cleanliness in your homes, and they want to see that information. They want to trust that information. Okay, so that's just a little bit of a level set of some of the things that are going on out there. It's starting to become pretty exciting, right? Most indications, in fact, I think all indications show that we're kind of bottoming out, and the demand curve is starting to go up. So it's a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a ton of different topic points in there that we're going to extrapolate throughout the conversation, especially around kind of the guest experience and what folks are going to be looking for in listings. So we'll be talking about how you guys as the hosts and the management companies can begin making those changes and affecting change, beginning with the listings. But there's a big kind of elephant in the room before we do that, which is really just the level of dependence that management companies have on Vrbo and on the OTAs today. You guys are amazing partners, both to the software companies like us and to the property management companies. And I think that the way that the OTAs, each different and with their idiosyncrasies, have kind of handled the cancellations and the approach to the pandemic has been really interesting to watch from our kind of neutral perspective. And we noticed that you guys took a bit of a different approach, and you really did put choice and flexibility for the PMCs at the forefront of that process. So could you just expand a little bit on the thought process behind your approach there, and kind of speak to the PMCs about that experience as they are still sort of logistically handling all of the cancellations in those processes?
Yeah. It's interesting because as I read the trade journals and different articles and things like that, they kind of lump OTAs into one category, OTAs, right? And probably deservedly so. But we decided to take a different approach than the rest of them. I've been in this industry serving property managers for 16 years now. And we as a company have learned that you guys run very, very complex businesses. Property management companies are very complex businesses. And the key differentiation or differentiator that makes you guys so different is that you run a two-sided marketplace, just like Vrbo does. You guys have travelers and guests that you guys have to make happy, but more importantly, in my opinion, most importantly, you got to take care of your owners, right? And you guys have owner contracts, and so that adds a level of complexity. So as we move forward with what was going on, the typical knee-jerk reaction was, well, we just got to do what we got to do. Everybody will understand, right? And the easiest thing we could have done was just made a broad statement that said, all Vrbo customers get a refund that are affected by COVID. But from our perspective, you guys have the owners that you have to deal with, right? And your complex businesses and your operations. And so we made the decision that we're going to, well, let me back up a second. So our whole business model, and you guys have heard us say this, is that it's built on the idea that the more successful you are, the more successful we are. And it's absolutely true. We can go into detail about that later. But it's true. And so we share in each other's success. we decided that we should also share in each other's pain, right? And that you guys, because you're running complex businesses, you guys are going to do what's right for your company, and you guys are going to do what's right for your guests, right? So we decided that instead of unilaterally making draconian decisions on your behalf, that we were going to let you maintain the control of your decisions. And so along those lines, we also, there's certain behavior that we wanted to see happen, right? And so you get back to the whole carrot and stick thing, right? You can manage things by carrots, or you can manage things by sticks. So we decided that on top of that, that we were going to reward folks who did what we thought was right and did what was right on the part of the traveler. And that involved credits and refunds. And so as we're moving forward, we're going to reward those folks who gave credits and refunds in a way that we think is pretty cool. And that is, for every credit and refund that you gave, 50% or more, we're going to give you the equivalent of a 5-star review to help lift your listing results. Very cool. So that's what we decided to do, and so far it's been working out well. I think our property management partners have appreciated it, and we've appreciated them.
Oh, that's such an interesting approach to view this whole situation by. I think we've definitely seen an enormous change, and so many companies have taken such different approaches. But what you guys have done and the approach that you guys have taken is very similar to the way that we have seen it as well. I mean, every company basically approaches and has approached the situation in completely different ways, and you can't just send out a blanket statement and tell everybody that they need to operate the exact same way. And so we really appreciate the way you guys handle the situation and some of the initiatives you're putting forward to property managers and their success. With that being said, I'd love to know a little bit about, the COVID experiences, what you guys think are going to be some of the biggest changes in terms of guest expectations and how they're going to be booking the homes. What are you guys seeing on your end?
Yeah, a lot of changes, right? We're starting to see the biggest change that we saw was the drop in bookings and all the cancellations, right? And now we're starting to see demand starting to pick up. And so as we see that, and it is directly correlated to governments opening up, right, and allowing people to get out. And so, but we're finding that there is a stir craziness that's been going on, right? We're seeing that people are looking to want to travel closer to home. They're not, most aren't wanting to get on airplanes right now.
I know I'm not doing it.
What's that?
No chance I'm getting on a plane. We've been traveling. Right. We've been talking about traveling in a car. I mean,
that's exactly right.
Yeah, it's just
right. But people want to reconnect with their family, and it's amazing because there is this huge pent-up demand. I saw it I've seen it recently in two markets in Gulf Shores, Alabama, on the beaches of Alabama. One of our customers got 1,100 bookings in 3 days, within 3 days after they announced opening up the beaches.
Wow.
In California, we got one customer who is literally overbooked and double booking because of announcements that were made by the government. And so things are really starting to turn around. And those customers who are responding to traveler need, the two biggest ones are flexible cancellation rates or policies, and the cleanliness, because it's all about, people are planning on spending more time indoors than they are outdoors, right? But even on the outdoor space, they want open outdoor spaces and not community spaces per se as much anymore. And so the biggest changes in terms of traveler expectations, as it relates to property managers, okay, trying to make it applicable to property managers, is whatever they want you to give them, right? And the whole idea of adaptability is very, very important. We don't know what the world, every day brings new changes. And we as a company, and you guys as a software company, and the property managers, your customers as property management companies, have to be adaptable. and have to be able to be efficient about it. We don't know what's going to happen this summer. We don't know what's going to happen this fall. So conserving cash and being as efficient as possible. And, you know, Ben Edwards likes to say, if it's not bolted down, get rid of it, right? And really focus on making your business efficient. But, you know, here's the thing for me. To me, and this is a John statement. This is not necessarily a Vrbo statement. This isn't rocket science, right? It really is about giving folks what you would want,
Yeah.
right? I mean, figure out what you would want, and don't wait for someone to ask for it. Just go do it, right?
Yeah.
That's at the core of every, you know, it's easy to forget we get so bogged down in technology and the way we do things in the day-to-day, but that exact mentality you just cited is the core of the hospitality business. You know, people take vacations because they want to experience being treated like royalty. That's the one chance you get to get what you want. So give people what they want, a good experience. Don't put up walls in unnecessary places. That, you know, the core of this industry is you know, welcoming folks and building relationships, and you don't do that by putting up walls or making things more difficult, especially in light of just how difficult people's lives have been already in the last few weeks. Give them a break.
What's ironic about this entire situation is that we're actually forcing a lot of our managers to do things that should come naturally as a vacation rental manager. Cleanliness is one of those things. It's a topic that really shouldn't be an issue. If we're planning on offering a professional service and renting a home, then our homes should be up to spec, and cleanliness is at the forefront of that. And so if that's going to force our property managers to do exactly that, then, you know, it's one good thing that's come out of this entire situation is revisiting the way you do your business, the way you handle your homes, and the cleanliness, and how you're accepting your guests, and the type of communication that needs to come from your company to them.
Yeah, you know, Brian, if I may, you know, there's at ResFest 2 years ago, John Kim got up and he talked about a concept called IQ, EQ, LQ. And IQ is the intelligence quotient, EQ is the emotional quotient, but LQ is the rise of the quotient of love. And it was introduced by Jack Ma of Alibaba. And the whole idea is it's the Q of caring for one another. And so, you know, this whole business is all about love. It really is about love. And right now, people need it more than ever, right? And one of the things, that the saying that has guided my entire career for 45 years has been, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, right? This is our opportunity to show people that we really care about them, right? And this is the time when they need to know that we care about them. And so it really is kind of the golden rule kind of thing. Treat others the way you'd want to be treated, and think about the kinds of things that you would want when you go on vacation. And you know, it could be as simple as board games, right? It could be and it could be weird stuff like dinner rules. You know, no screens during dinner. You know, or you know, anything, right, that brings people together. This is our opportunity to really help this make our little industry shine.
I think that approach is so unique to the vacation rental industry as well, because it's important for the consumer to understand that when you book a vacation rental, you're often booking with a small business. You're not booking with a megalithic hotel chain where, you know, they couldn't really care one way or another who walks through the door as long as there's a head in the bed. But with a vacation rental, you really do have to tailor the experience to the human in order to be not just effective at your business, but to accomplish that very goal of extending the care to the client that gets you that 5-star review, and it gets you the satisfaction and the fulfillment of knowing that you created a memory and made a difference for that person who came to stay with you. It really is a sentimental industry, and that should inform the marketing approach, the guest service approach, and so much else. I think that's really beautifully said, John.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. So kind of bouncing off of that, we can talk a lot about the general traveler expectation when it comes to the holiday or the vacation in the abstract. But Stacey, maybe you can tell us a little bit more specifically about the way those expectations affect the listing, the actual advertisement itself. How has the change in landscape influenced the way that VRMs should be thinking about their Vrbo listings?
Yeah, so like what's been said, I think the biggest concern for all of us right now are physical and financial safety, and you can see that in the way that travelers are booking, right? So they want to make sure the property is clean. So make sure that within your description, you're noting your cleaning protocols. You know, call out what you're doing. And cancellation policies. I mean, that's huge right now. We have 5 cancellation policies to choose from. And we're seeing those with much more flexible, say like a moderate or relaxed cancellation policy are getting 26% more bookings. So I would say those are the 2 bigger things to change right now within your listing is calling out your cleaning protocol and your cancellation policy, because we've now made it easier for travelers to search by that, right? There's cancellation filters, there's ways that you can sort reviews by cleanliness. So those are the biggest things that have changed. Now, outside of that, I think it's still super important that, you know, the biggest things that we want to see is content optimization, right? Do you have, this is the, you know, you may have some downtime now to really focus on, hey, do my photos look good? Is my headline strong? Are all my amenities chosen? I was thinking about it last night, and you know, for a property in Kissimmee, you know, a strong headline used to be, you know, 10 minutes from Disney. Now is that the strongest headline? No, because people aren't going to be going to the theme park. So it's time to kind of look at your headlines and say, you know, game room, pool, chef's kitchen. You know, those are the things that we're going to point out now is like the features of the home. So I think it's a big time for people to also start including more amenities, like, you know, that you have a cupboard full of spices for cooking, because people are going to be cooking there. They're not going to be going out to dinner. I mean, the whole travel is going to change, right? It's not about going out places. It's about staying home and being together and cooking. And like John said, you know, add some board games, you know, do some outside activities. I think that's really what's going to change within the way that you can promote your property.
Well said. I think the one thing I meant to call this out earlier, but there's actually something off the back of what you just said that's really exciting for our customers coming up next week. We are aiming to roll out, or at least provide a starting user manual. We're going to record some great training sessions for you guys and make sure it's as palatable as possible. But we've accelerated the launch of our new task manager software to start next week, which is going to allow you to start taking the cleaning protocols and the guidelines. For example, Vrbo put out a great document recently that goes through some of the things you should be considering when cleaning the homes. We've actually incorporated those guidelines into some templates and checklists in the new task manager software that we're going to be releasing for you guys. Basically just helps make sure that all of your cleaning staff are using the right PPE, they're using the right cleaning equipment, they're getting all the door handles and high touch surfaces, and things like that. So we're going to be sharing that with you guys a little bit more next week once we get the training manual done. But we accelerated that just specifically to meet the needs of this conversation, allow you guys to keep up with the traveler expectations. So that's going to be really important. Keep an ear out for that. But kind of to that end, Stacy and John, did you guys have any, I know we focused on specifically the cancellation policies and the cleanliness. Are there 2 or 3 other things that management companies might be able to focus on updating? Of course, you mentioned the headlines and things like that. Does anything else jump out?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's also a time to look at your minimum night stay requirements, right? So in a time in an area where it usually used to be a week-long vacation was the norm, maybe it's cut down to 3 or 4 days. You know, that could be because a lot more drive-to destinations, less money, who knows why, but we have reports that we can help our property managers review and see, hey, what is the norm now? What are people looking to book? Are they looking to book 3 days? Are they looking to book 5 days? Are they looking to book 7 days? So I think it's worth looking at that and just to make sure that you're hitting as many people as you can. And then another article I read that I thought was pretty interesting is if you're not already doing it, offering some type of self check-in and keyless entry, just to kind of make it easier for travelers to get into the home without having to stop by an office and something like that. I would say those are some things to think about if you're not already doing it.
They don't want to see you.
They don't want to see anybody.
They don't want to see you.
They want to know you care, but they don't want to see you.
Yeah.
It's true. I think differentiating, you've got some really good points. I mean, making your property stand out from other properties, making some unique things happen inside of the home for them, giving them a little bit of fun, but also adding some element of, this is a safe home for you to arrive to by yourself. It's clean, and you still have access points to those property managers, so they're professionally managed. We're just handling it in a little bit of a different situation. And so with that, how's Vrbo responding to the pandemic going forward? How's it affected you guys as a company?
Yeah, we're how we're moving forward. Moving forward with as much flexibility and adaptability as we possibly can.
I can imagine.
Things are changing so fast. You think about, right now it's got government relations is such a big part of it, right? Because we're seeing that as soon as announcements are made, this pent-up demand just starts to kick in, right? So we're working really, really hard with regards to the different federal, state, and local governments.
Have you guys had any direct involvement? Have you done any kind of direct work with the governments, or are you kind of leaning? We've been leaning on, say, VRMA, FVRMA, and contributing with those guys. But kind of what have you?
No. Yeah, we've got an entire organization. We've got a small army of people who are directly responsible for government relations. We work in coordination and collaboration with VRMA, right? And I think we've been really great partners, mutual partners to each other. But yeah, it's a really big deal, and especially with the dynamics that we're seeing, across different markets of announcements being made that markets are opening up, and boom, there's all this pent-up demand. So really trying to help work through all that. For travelers, moving forward, you're gonna see us, like I said, continue to really understand and adapt to changing expectations, and deliver the kinds of evolving information, some of the things that Stacy was just talking about, that that travelers need in order to book your homes. And from the perspective of CiiRUS property managers, you can expect us to communicate that information to you guys, right? And let you guys know, because again, right, if we have information that's gonna help drive bookings, you guys are the people who are gonna drive those bookings, right? So we have to get that information to you in as quick and expeditious a way and effective way as we can. You can expect us moving forward to continue to look at the world through the lenses of property managers and guests. This has forced us to do this, right? And we've gotten really, really good at it. And it's just a wonderful thing, because one of my other roles, in addition to evangelist, is ombudsman. So as an evangelist, I communicate a lot and I present a lot. And as an ombudsman, I listen a lot and listen to what specifically our property management partners need and want. And so maintaining that level of flexibility, so that for you, and not coming down with harsh measures and forcing property managers to do business a certain way. We want to maintain as much flexibility as possible, because again, it's win-win, right? We know you want to win, and we know that your win is our win, and vice versa. So you can expect us to let you continue doing your thing, right? And maintaining that level of flexibility. At least that's what we're driving within the company.
Yeah, and to add to that, when we first discussed having this webinar maybe 2 weeks ago, it still seemed pretty bleak and dark. I would say since then, in just those 2 weeks, I have seen such a dramatic change. I was like, we can't sugarcoat this, we have to be real, but I can actually be positive. Like John said, I was talking to a PM in Gulf Shores last week, and their occupancy went from 20% to 80% in that week. And they said their biggest problem is finding people to work, to help the travelers and clean the houses. So, I mean, it was just such a turnaround. I literally just got the chills talking about it, because it makes me feel good, because I think we've all been scared, and just to see that turnaround, it's just amazing,
Yeah.
And, what has Vrbo done I've been here for about 7 years, and what we've done in the last month and a half as far as releasing tools and reports and reach out to our partners and travelers is more than I've seen done in the last 6 months. You know, like our time frame on releasing things has moved so quickly. It's just let us know that, like, you know, we have that capability, and it's really kind of turned around the way we do business internally as well.
Yeah,
and speaks to home.
What's that?
Right, Josh? It speaks to us as well. I think it's put us in a position where we've just produced an enormous amount of content for our managers, but also we realized really, really quickly who our close partners are. Just being able to reach out to certain partners, getting onto really quick webinars and be able to send out really positive messages or reinforcement messages to those managers, not just on our behalf, but on behalf of our partnerships, like you guys. So
I'm trying to remember where it was. I think it was maybe something you sent me, Brian, but I read something that was saying that the levers of anxiety are uncertainty and powerlessness. And this situation, if nothing else, is just a massive, massive source of uncertainty first and foremost. And when you feel powerless to control that, it of course breeds a ton of anxiety, and we're seeing it everywhere. We're feeling, you know, we've been through it, as you said, Stacey. Everyone's been through it, and the travelers, of course, as well. It goes without saying, but I think that with these partnerships and the ways that we are working together, and as you mentioned, the amount of reporting and output that you guys have been doing, that's empowering people. That's taking away that second lever of the anxiety, which is the powerlessness. And I think as you empower people and people start to kind of understand, there are things I can be doing right now. Even if I'm not able to have the same number of guests in house as I expected or hoped or wanted, I can still start tending to these listings because this will get better. When it does, I'm going to be at the front of the line, not at the back of the bus. I can start working on my housekeeping checklists and make sure that, you know, when my cleaners come back, they can work safely. The guests will feel comfortable. There's so many powerful things that you can be doing to empower yourselves in your business. And that just being active and communicating with people, working on this, working with partners like you guys, has made the uncertainty seem so much less bleak. Naturally, as we go forward as well, we start to learn more, we know more, markets open up, and the uncertainty crumbles away, you know, despite itself. So we still obviously have a long way to go and a lot left to learn, but it's definitely a much different picture today than it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and we're, you know, one of the things that you didn't mention with regard to uncertainty is fear, right? And fear has been such a big driver the last 6 to 8 weeks, the last 2 months. And, you know, so what we want to do is we want to get information out there as fast as we can. One of the things, if I were to talk about the thing that has affected Vrbo the most, it's been speed to change, right? That's one of them. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things, but you know, just faster development, faster delivery, faster communications, and because things are just turning on a dime as we go along. And I will say that one of the really cool things, one of the shiny little silver linings around this little big dark rain cloud we've got is virtual communications, right? I mean, things like this, right? We're getting pretty good at it, and it's actually really cool. And so yeah, so it's all about, and going back to fear, I'll just say this, make this one little statement. The best antidote to fear is love, right? And again, figuring out how to bring love into this. They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so yeah, it's been a really tough time, but there's been some good things that have come out of it that we'll be able to carry forward. But we want to get out of this, right? And now we just have to focus on getting out of this and getting everybody back up to speed. So yeah.
Tremendously well said, John. Thank you. And guys, to kind of bring it home, Stacey, did you want to bring us through? I know you had some details to dig into and some slides to show us. Should we go take a look at some of the data that you guys have pulled for us?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm on our partner success team. We have, I think, 80 account managers directly for property managers. So we have a whole team that can go do some deep dives with property managers and their accounts, look at their minimum night stay. Let's see, I think on this next slide, we have our new market insights. This is a post-COVID market insights report. It's updated daily. So many of our reports are updated like every 6 months. This one is updated daily. So basically it will show you in your area the bookings by cancellation policy. So you'll see kind of where the majority of people are booking at what cancellation policy. It also shows you who's searching, like where are they from, and who's booking and where are they from. And so that kind of gives you an idea. Like we said, I think drive-to destinations are important. So that makes you want to focus on that as far as amenities, right? So make sure that they don't have to pack a car full of beach chairs and spices. Make sure that you have that for your travelers. And then the other big one, I think, is the length of stay by search and bookings, right? So there you can see where you're missing out on travelers or what you should set it at, and owner fees. So this is something that can be shared to you through our partner success team or customer support team. So the biggest takeaway I would say is reach out. We have a team ready and willing, working from home, ready to talk to you about your specific area.
Please call us.
Yeah, call us. We're waiting for you. And it really makes me feel good to talk to our partners, right? Because like I said, in a time where we're feeling a lot of anxiety and fear, sharing that with somebody or hearing somebody's like, hey, you know, I got 10 bookings yesterday. It really changes your outlook and makes you feel good. I recommend spending. Really... Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, this is really interesting data. I think it also gives us an opportunity for our property managers to revisit some of their descriptions, things that they've had up, you know, for 5, 6, 10 years on their website. They've never changed it. Your descriptions are absolutely essential to your homes and your bookings. If you're not putting your personal touch to it right now, and you're not adding some of the elements that you just spoke about into those descriptions, you're probably not going to book as well as your next door neighbor that is putting some extra effort into adding some personality to the homes, personal touches, maybe some love, as John would probably say. So it's essential to do this. It's a good time to do it. You guys are in front of computers all day. There's absolutely no excuse you shouldn't be adding a little bit of a personal touch to it. So this is really good stuff.
Yeah, we have to be real. Like there's probably going to be more supply than demand. Before there were areas that would be completely booked up, you know, for the summer. And, you know, I don't think travel is going to return as much as it was. So you're competing. You have to be more competitive. And that means making sure your listings are up to date, that, you know, you're doing the most you can to make the travelers want to book your property. You know, we have a ton of information on our Discovery Hub that's updated daily on COVID stuff. And
can I make one quick comment? Can I make one quick comment before we leave the market insight slide? Yeah. So the idea with this market insights, folks, is it changes all the time, and we're going to be we're measuring different things all the time. So this report isn't going to be the same report. It's constantly going to be changing. So be sure to, and we're going to try to find ways to figure out how best to get this out to you. But in the meantime, you guys have to call us in order to get it. And also understand that this one that you guys are seeing is from Port Aransas, Texas. So these are regional reports. Okay. Yeah. And so they can provide you some really great insights. Anyway, so I'm sorry, Stacey. I just wanted to add that for everybody.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a new version of this coming out tomorrow with even more details. So yes, call us and we'll do a deep dive into it. Great. Oh, and another thing I'd love to plug is we are having our own webinar hosted by John on Thursday at, I believe, 1 o'clock, right, John? And I think that's going to do a deep dive into like traveler insights. Can you kind of go over what that will be like?
Yeah, it'll be recorded, right? So if you guys aren't able to be there, you'll be able to see it. But it's going to be more of a deep dive in terms of more details on what we're seeing and what's going on out there. And we're also going to have a couple of property managers online as panelists talking about their experiences and recommendations. So if you can make it, great. If not, you'll be able to see the recording.
Fantastic. Well, guys, as we come to a close here, I just want to give some final thoughts. And I didn't think I'd be leaving the conversation saying this, but the secret ingredient today was very much love. That's a little cliche, but it's true. It's a nice reminder as well. As I said earlier in the session, we're in the hospitality industry. The game is relationships. The game is making people feel loved and welcomed. So let's continue to act and everything that we do, bear that in mind. It's a great and timely reminder, especially amidst all the anxiety. So certainly appreciate that perspective. And what a conversation. I know you guys have a deeper dive scheduled later in the week, which you talked about. So we're going to send everybody the information to join the deep dive conversation. We're also going to make sure that on the landing page where you're watching this, you'll have access to the Vrbo connections documentation, as well as the PM info page that's on the screen right now. We'll make sure you have everything you need to get in touch and put all of the tips and tricks that we talked about today into action. Because at the end of the day, we love it when you listen, but we love it even more when you take action and really start to affect change within your organization with our partners' advice. So I'm going to hand it to Brian for his closing thoughts, and then Stacy and John, you guys can give your closing thoughts as well. But from my end, I just want to encourage everybody, keep watching along with us. You can catch us live every Friday at webinars.CiiRUS.com. You can sign up for every week's live episode. And then early in the week, just like this one, we're doing our pre-recorded episodes where we bring on different partners and have conversations just like this. So if you're watching this, you're in the right place. Don't forget to check us out live on Fridays as well. I'll be sending pop-ups into the software every week because I know you guys see those. So keep watching along with us. We're having a great time coming directly into your screens and speaking with you guys. It's been a blast. So that's it for me. Brian, I'm going to pass it to you for your closing thoughts.
Well said, Josh. I think I'm just going to echo a couple of the things that you said. Most of this information, we're going to make sure we put it up onto the landing pages for you guys. And as Vrbo updates us and sends us new details, we'll send it up. We'll set it up onto the HubSpot page as well, so you guys can check it out there, and it'll always be up to date. I want to thank Stacy and John for joining us today. It was a great conversation. I think a lot of really good resources. We appreciate the amount of work that you guys have put into helping our property managers in the industry out. We realize that there are a lot of moving parts. It's very difficult right now for everybody involved, and I think it's a learning curve for everybody. But with a little bit of love into the hospitality industry, I've got it, and loving our guests and our homes and our homeowners. If we put a little bit of effort, we'll come out of this thing really strong. I think it'll make us actually stronger than before. We're a very unique industry as vacation rental managers. And I think you guys need to take advantage of Vrbo and some of the assets that they're putting together for you. You are small teams of companies for the most part, but you have really big companies and really big resources behind you. And so I think one of the things that I'm finding that's very exciting is watching some of these large companies like Vrbo put together the resources that you guys need to be able to succeed and come out of this thing in a better position that you were in previously. So thanks, guys. I look forward to having future conversations with you and seeing what happens when we come out of COVID. Off to you guys.
Yeah, Stacy, what's your closing remark?
Well, it was a real pleasure speaking with you guys. I love talking to our property managers and our partners. We are in this together, and like you said, we're full of love. Just got a big heart. I think that's where it comes out. It feels good to know that I'm not by myself, even though I am right now. We're in this together, and I can't wait to travel. I've got 3 trips in my head ready to go, so we'll see you out there.
Yeah, and for me, folks, here's the deal: we're going to get through this, right? I mean, this is going to go. We're going to go through it. We're going to go through some more pain, but I'll tell you, we're going to get through this. And pardon the cliche, but we're all in this together. We really are. And I look at this. I always try to look for the silver lining and try to find the opportunity in the darkness. And I'll tell you, this is our opportunity to shine. This situation is right in the wheelhouse of vacation rentals, because people are going to want to have their own private space. People are going to want to have their own open space. People are going to want to travel with their families. This is where this is our opportunity. So my personal belief is that when all this is behind us, and you know, it may take the rest of the year to get through this, but you know, we'll survive. We're going to come out of this stronger and better than we've ever been. In the meantime, you know, it's also an opportunity for all of you, just like we do, to really be working on your business. I had a customer say that one thing that this has been presenting to him is the opportunity to stop working in his business and work on his business, and you know, figuring out how to reduce his expenses and his cost structure, and of course taking care of your employees. Very, very important. So anyway, you know, as tough as it's been, we're going to get through this. We're going to survive. We're going to make it through it together, and it's going to be better than it's ever been, in my opinion. So thanks for having us, Brian and Josh. Thank you very much for having us.
We're excited to have you.
And we're excited for the partnership. So as always, thank you for not just the partnership that you extend to us, but to our management companies as well. And we talked earlier in the call about the elite partnership, but really that's underpinned by the strength and the success of the management companies who are using our platform. So all credit to you guys in the audience. We appreciate your partnership. We appreciate that you fuel us to continue delivering awesome products with the Vrbo team. We always, you know, we pilot new features with you guys. We've got a lot of great stuff in the works with you all. So, you know, management companies, keep your eye on this space. You'll see some great new news coming out of the CiiRUS and Vrbo partnership as we keep plugging away. You know, John, you said it may be a hard year, but our teams are working as closely as ever to make sure that the connection's stable. You guys have everything you need. So we appreciate the opportunity to be in front of you guys again every week. It's an absolute pleasure. And Stacy and John, hope you guys will join us again soon.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, this is Josh Parry, CMO at CiiRUS, on behalf of Brian, Stacy, and John, thanking you one last time and signing off till next week. Take care, everybody.
Bye, guys.